Welcome to Nitpicking Nerds. Today, we're grading some cards.
Submitted by you.
I'm your host, Joe Cherries.
I'm your host, Beezy, and that makes us the Nitpicking Nerds. You already know that today is someone's birthday, and we're releasing videos every day, so your birthday will also have a video.
Happy birthday to you, whoever's birthday it is today. Guess what? You want to support the nerds? Patreon.com is the best way to do that. Support us directly. You basically give us money. We put it back into the channel. We make this channel better for you.
And the second best way, there's actually two. First one, TCG Player. You buy the cards that you're going to buy anyway for your new sick deck, but when you buy them through the link we have in the description, we get a kickback on the order after you purchase them for the same amount of money. Same is true for the Dragon Shield EU and US links, also in the description. Buy sleeves to sleeve the deck you just bought, except you're still supporting the nerds.
Pretty awesome. Guess what? That when you do both those, you literally spend $0 extra that you support us. We would much appreciate that. So let's hop into this video. We're doing our grading series. We talk about cards. We tell you their grades A through F. So, BZ, why don't you give them a quick rundown of what A through F is?
A, that's an auto-include, baby. You're going to have problems not including it in a deck in most cases. B's are your build-arounds, so when your deck meets the criteria, they're like some of the best cards in your deck, but you do have to work towards it. They don't just give it to you for free. C's are cuttable. They're kind of just the average level cards. You could put them in a deck, but a lot of times you don't want to. D is don't bother. You're probably going to try to avoid this unless you're strictly building to it or you have some kind of weird corner case synergy, but they're usually not good cards. F, forget about it. It's cards that we just wouldn't play almost ever.
Yeah. So the best way to think about this is the lower the grade, the more of a reason you need to play it. Almost no card is unplayable in Commander. So if we give something an F, that would mean there's almost no case to play it.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean there's literally no case to play it.
Exactly. We got 30 cards suggested by you, the very person watching this video right now. Only you suggested all 30 of these in our Discord server.
The first one, suggested by Nicol Polasinski. He suggested other stuff. We can't forget that awesome name. It's Mindcrank, which is a 2-mana artifact that says when an opponent loses life, they mill that many too. This card is very medium. In fact, you don't want to be doing this unless you have some sort of combos or super synergy, like Sir Conrad the Grim.
That one is my favorite.
Yes, exactly. So this is like a C-. You want to avoid this almost all the time. Don't throw this into a random deck. But when the synergy's there, it is a strong little synergy combo piece.
If you're not comboing and it doesn't have direct synergy, like if you're not trying to mill them out completely or combo kill them, there's just no point to this. Why are you going to deal 10 damage and then mill them for 10? Like, what does that accomplish? Nothing, except if I could start every game of Commander with 10 cards in my graveyard, I would. So it kind of helps them if you don't kill them with it.
Yeah, it really does. So if it's not going to be killing them, then you really don't want to be playing this card. Next, Toki suggests Mass Hysteria, which is a 1-mana enchantment. All creatures have haste. This is a funny one to me. Mass Hysteria, I gave a C-. You really don't want to play this one too often because in red, there are much better ways to give your team haste. We're talking Anger. Anger's the main one.
That's a really good one.
That's a really good one. And there is just other ones. Mass Hysteria does everybody. So, like, you really are you don't want to be giving everybody haste. Now, funnily, if you're playing green without red, Concordant Crossroads is like a B+, a very strong and great card. Even though it's the exact same card, the color change really changes the grade.
Green has mana dorks, and that changes from, all right, I'm going to get a pretty decent attack into, okay, I'm going to see if I can win this turn.
Yeah, exactly. Mass Hysteria, the effect's not bad. Don't confuse it for being bad, but you just don't need it most of the time. When you're in red, there's lots of better ways to gain haste.
I think it's a kind of a toss-up. If you're just trying to attack people fairly, it's a toss-up between Mass Hysteria and, like, Hammer of Perforos, where it's just, okay, I can pay some extra mana. It's more expensive, but just my stuff gets haste.
Yeah, exactly. And there's enough of those effects. Hammer's not the only effect like that. You can just get haste for only your team in red.
Right. I have to discard a card. Now my team has haste because I discarded Anger.
Yeah, exactly. What do we have next, BZ?
Light Lord 3 suggests Waste Not. Now, this has been an up-and-comer in my list of most annoying cards, or most cards that just generally get an eye roll. Whenever an opponent discards a card, you get something off of it. You either get mana, a card back, or you get a 2/2 zombie. They're all annoying because this goes super well with Wheels and Dark Deal and Discard and all this other crap. And I think this card is really good, but you got to build super heavy around it. So it's a B+.
Absolutely, yeah. It's a heavy build around card where you have to make sure your deck is, like you said, filled with wheels. Not just, you don't have one or two wheels.
To the brim.
To the brim with wheels. Other ways to make players discard. Just tons of them filling your deck. And then this card's amazing. It is going to be, if this card's good in your deck, you want to draw it every single game.
I think it is actually one of the best cards in all those decks. It turns your nice wheel turn into, oh, well, I guess we're going to wheel some multiple times. I'm going to throw some memory jars at you, some dark deals, plenty of stuff to do with that black mana.
Yeah, it's just very strong card. Next, Zima suggests Uvenwald Hydra, which is a 6-mana star. Its power and toughness are equal to the lands you control, and when it enters the battlefield, you can put any land onto the battlefield. This is very, very much the epitome of a C.
Oh, yeah.
This card, it goes in some decks, not in a lot of decks, and it's just 6 mana is a slot that is clogged with super, super strong effects. This is a good one. It's not a bad one at all. In fact, it's actually pretty decent, especially when you get the land. But you're just not going to have it make most of your decks.
I know it's better if it has reach versus nothing, but that reach is such a feel-bad to read. It's like, reach? What Hydra just has reach? Why can't I have trample on this? It is like so cuttable. You could easily just put it into any deck, and it'll kind of just perform at the same level no matter what. Obviously, it's better when you tutor up your favorite land like Valakut or something. But I just think you're just going to be so much better with like Explore or something in your landfall deck, where I would cut this almost every time. But the floor of it isn't that low. Isn't that low. It's just a solid card. It's not great.
It's almost always just in the middle. Like it's when it's the best and when it's the worst, it's almost the exact same.
It'll never blow your socks off, and it'll never feel like when you cast it, you're not getting much.
Yeah, exactly. Next, Killer Queen Bee suggests 1,000-Year Storm. Gave this one a C. Now, even if you're playing the Storm deck, the go off the top, over the rails, completely crazy, cast as many spells as I can deck, this is still very medium. It's a 6-mana enchantment that you have to untap with and then go crazy with.
Right.
It's a lot. This card is asking a lot of you. When you do that, the card ceiling is incredible. I mean, obviously, you're going to have turns where this feels like the best card in your deck. It's an A+. It's crazy. How could I ever be stopped? I cast like 45 spells this turn.
It gives spells that shouldn't have storm. So obviously that's insane. But you know what this is? If Uvenwald Hydra is a C in a landfall deck, this is the same card in a storm deck where it's like, yeah, it's going to be really good. It's 6 mana, though, and you might just be better off playing something like Cantrip or, Jessica's Will Effect or something else at a lower mana cost.
Yeah, it's not a spell in your spell deck, though. This is one of the better of the
janky enchantment payoffs.
There is a lot of just janky enchantment payoffs for the storm decks. You see them all the time. There's like the one, isn't there like a 7-mana one that copies your spell once each turn?
There's Swarm Intelligence that copies.
Yeah.
There's like something from Rise of the Eldrazi that gives them all rebound. There's so many different ones like that.
Yeah, there's a bunch of stuff like that. This might be the best one, though.
I think it is. I think it's just completely silly when it goes off. Next, Crudest wants to know, is Intruder Alarm an A, a B, a C, a D, an F? We're going to say it's a B because it says whenever a creature enters, you untap all creatures. This is only a combo card. It is either trash or you win the game immediately. I like this card. It's a nice just slam the door shut on the game. It's over. I've got some mana dork thing, and I've got a token maker, and now I'm going to make infinite mana.
Yeah, this card is really, really strong. I mean, Vanifier loves this card, right?
It's completely, it's game over.
You're just going to win the game with Vanifier. Every time you get a new creature, you untap your creatures, means Vanifier can be activated again. There's a ton of good things to do with this. It turns all of your creature spells into rituals now, because if your creature's overall tap for 6 mana, you cast a 2-mana creature, all right, they untap. Now you just have 4 mana floating. It's great.
Yeah, it works wonders in Elf Ball. It works wonders in 2-card combo. If you're going to search things out, maybe like a Zur deck is going to find some weird way to go off with this. But it's only a combo card. If you're going to put this in some random deck without a combo, I would say don't bother.
I would say it's funny. This card probably sees less play than it would, or it definitely sees less play than it would if it was a green card. If this is a green card, oh my God, this card would be so much better because that's where all the mana dorks are.
Yeah, for now, B. Who's next?
Well, it's Antari with Goblin Recruiter, which is a 2-mana goblin, enters the battlefield. You can stack the top of your deck with as many goblins as you want. This works great with Muxus. This works great with controlling, just your draws. Goblin Snoop, you can set up a win with that.
Yeah, Conspicuous Snoop.
Conspicuous Snoop, yeah, whatever it's called. This card is really, really strong. Its main weakness is if you do not have a way to shuffle your deck and you get caught in a situation where you stack your deck with cards you wanted for a situation and then that situation falls apart, now your deck is stacked with goblins you might not want to be drawing.
you probably don't want to be drawing. There's a Elish Norn in play. My next 25 draws are 2/2s. You're just not going to win that game. So you need to hold a fetch land with this. Or if you're in like some black-red Goblin deck, Bolas's Citadel, baby. Just play them all right now. Especially if you have some way to gain life in play. That's super silly. So we gave it a B-. I think it's on the lower end of B- in terms of how often this gets played, which is like never. But it's only for a tribal Goblin deck, and I think it's great in there.
Well, yeah, it's only for a specific deck. I think B- is a completely fair grade for this. This is a B. It's a build-around card. It's a very heavy build-around. Make sure you have 10 to 30 goblins in your deck. You need at least 10. I mean, you can't put this in without 10 goblins.
What are you doing with 10?
Minimum 10.
Yeah.
Minimum 10 goblins in your deck. But even if it's only 10, maybe you have a deck that potentially can combo off with goblins. So
Dockside Extortionist is a goblin.
it is. The very insanely strong goblin.
8. Number 8. Mr. Bird. Bloodchief Ascension. What is the grade for Bloodchief Ascension? At the beginning of each opponent's end step, if they lost 2 or more life, you're going to get a counter on it. And then if it has 3 counters, you're in Value City, because whenever a card goes in a graveyard from anywhere, you're draining that opponent for 2, and then you gain 2. This card is annoying. It's cheap. But I think overall, it's a bit overhyped. I might have this at like C+.
C+ is a great grade for it, I think. I think the main issue with this card is getting all 3 counters on it, and players have ample time to react to this and get ready for it.
The waiting.
Now it is a 2-card win with Mindcrank. That is
2-card, 3-turn win condition.
Yeah, it does take some time. You don't just win immediately, but this card is okay, and there are decks that can definitely take advantage of it in the best ways, where it's like, all right, I'm gonna get to that point, and once this thing hits, good luck winning, because I'm going to start wheeling, I'm going to start milling you, and you guys are just going to die.
Yeah, it's almost impossible to come back from it if you, for some reason, like, I'm assuming if it gets to the point that it's ultimating, you have no answer. So at that point, you're kind of in trouble, and that's a nice investment for 1 mana, but I've seen this go south way too many times. Hey guys, all right, well, there's Bloodchief Ascension in play, so am I going to chip damage at Joe for 2? No. All right, so let's just not do that. And then if someone has to pay life, they're like, it's fine, I have an answer. I'll pay 2 life for my birthing pod and then go Rex Agent or something. I just feel like it's too upfront about what it's going to do. It's like, watch out, guys.
Yeah, it does take a long time to get going. Those quest counters take a while. Next, Kiro. Cryo. Yeah, Cryo suggests Angel of Ruins, a card I'm actually decently high on, but it's still only a C+. This only goes in very, very specific decks. You have to be white with no green and care about the creature ETB. Now, is that to say this card is bad? Absolutely not. C+. It's a solid card, and it performs really well. It turns out white doesn't have a lot of creature ETBs to destroy artifacts and enchantments, so getting this one that exiles is great.
It's a nice 2-for-1. It's good for Reanimator, and it's definitely notable in artifact decks. Those are probably some of the main ones that want this, where I can fire off an Burial Rites or Reanimate or something, just get this back. Nice 2-for-1. It cycles, so it's never dead. Help hit your land drops. I like this card a lot. It's been a very solid performer at our higher power tables.
Yeah, it is a nice role player.
Yeah, we had it. It was in, I think, one of our test games for gameplay. Not recorded, but I think it was play in there, right? And it did some work.
I exiled 2 of your cards.
Typical.
Yep. Next, we have Allison Mine suggesting Siphon Mine.
Are they related?
Siphon Mine related to Allison Mine. We gave this one a C. This says each opponent discards a card. You draw for each card discarded this way. So basically, it goes everyone discards and you 3 and you draw 3, or everyone discards 1 and you draw 3. This card is completely solid. It's decent. C. You just need a lot of synergy with it. A lot, not just like a little. You need other advantages from this card. If your deck is a waste not deck, this card is a solid, including those kind of decks.
I am lower on this than you. I'd probably give this a D or something. I don't think this ends up making a lot of decks, just because a lot of the cards you can put in instead are a lot better. But I see the argument for C, where like, yeah, you could play it just like Uvenwald Hydra. Me personally, I'm going to put in like 25 cards before that, and same is true for Siphon Mine. But when you put Siphon Mine in your deck, it's still a 4-mana draw 3 that nets you the worst card of whatever the opponents have.
I think if you're in a discard themed deck, this card is definitely worth playing. Now, that being said, that's not a lot of decks. That discard theme isn't like, whoa, look out, everyone's playing the discard theme. But
I don't know if it cuts it even there. I'd have to build one.
Yeah, maybe not, but I think it does. I mean, the fact is, it's a 6-for-1. It is a solid 6-for-1.
Solid. Overall, when you make everybody else discard 1, that's kind of like you got one thing back. You're even, and then you go up a couple cards. But it's 4 mana. I mean, it kind of pays it. It's not undercosted.
It's well, yeah, but I'm saying I think a 6-for-1, as long as there's another advantage, there's a waste not. There's my opponents each lose 2 when they discard. There's some sort of effect in the field taking this card from like the medium effect. That's when you want to be playing it.
I'm not so sure. Maybe it's got some place in like hyper budget, but we are not talking about budget in this episode. So Vati with Blue, I think is this name. Ritual of the Machine. It's 2 black for a sorcery. It's additional cost to cast it. You sack a creature, whatever. But you gain control of a non-black, non-artifact creature. Okay, that's not all the creatures. It's not perfect selection, but you get it permanently, and you can just snipe somebody's commander.
This card is strong. It's weirdly just strong. It's a weird reserve list card that I haven't ever seen be played.
Oh, it's reserve list?
It's a reserve list card.
We should buy some. It's like $11.
Yeah, this card is really, really strong. You just as long as you're able to sacrifice something, and that's not a disadvantage for you. That's not a bad thing.
No
You
problem.
have tons of stupid little tokens, tons of stupid little effects that you get when you sacrifice creatures. Like when they die, I draw a card. There's plenty of those type of effects, like your Grim Horror specs, your Midnight Reapers. You have that on the field. All of a sudden, this goes from being, sacrifice a creature to, no. Just gain control of your guy and get other advantages.
Scry 1, draw a card, make a token, steal your opponent's commander, make them jump through hoops to kill their own creature so they can play it again, and their deck doesn't function as well. This card is a solid B.
It's super, B is the perfect grade for this card. It does require a lot of synergy, but when you have that synergy, this card is incredible in the deck.
I don't play this card at anything, but I kind of want to.
Yeah, I think it would fit good in your Fun Carador deck.
I think it could. I think what we should do, literally, this is a real suggestion that what we should do after this, we should just buy 3 of this card.
Sure, yeah, not a bad idea. What card do we have next, BZ?
Well, it's Andrew W.'s Weathered Wayfarer. Oh boy, they snuck an A- on this list. Weathered Wayfarer, we didn't want to overlap any of the grades we've given before. I guess we should have mentioned that before, but there's no overlaps. We somehow didn't cover Weathered Wayfarer in the top 60 most played white cards that we've graded in the past. It's an A-. This card is insane. The only stipulation is don't be green, and you're playing this card.
Yeah, it's a 1/1 for 1. You pay white, tap it, and then you search for a land and put it in your hand. But you can only activate the ability if you have less lands than the opponent. Guess what? You're in white without green. You're almost always going to be able to activate it, meaning you're hitting your best land drop every single turn.
You also don't need 7 activations of this to be good. If I can go get Nykthos on my card, it's basically a 1-mana go find Nykthos. Okay, that's great. Find Ancient Tomb, then find Nykthos, then it's dead for the rest of the game. I don't care. That's totally worth it.
This card is pretty much always online in white decks. It's very rare that it's not online.
I've ramped before and it's still been on. Someone's going to ramp harder than you.
Yeah, the green decks. The green decks will ramp harder than you.
Absolutely.
All right. Lazarus suggests command the Dreadhorde. This is 6 mana. Return any number of creatures from graveyards to battlefield, and you lose life equals to the total converted mana cost of stuff. Return C+. You have to be able to mitigate the life loss. It's a lot of life to be losing.
Depending, yeah.
Yeah. And you have to be able to make sure this is going to result in some sort of huge advantage. It can't just be get back 3 things and that was okay. It's you don't want to be doing that. But if you can, mitigate the life loss and get back a ton of things and possibly win the game, this card's really strong.
Yeah, what is this competing with? Pretty heavy hitters animate dead. It's you got to get back a ton of things before, and you want to make this kind of I'm saving 3 mana off of my Rise of the Dark Realms, or 5 mana, or whatever the difference is. I'm saving a bunch of mana, and I'm just going to get this, and then I'm going to win 3 turns ahead of schedule. That's great, but you don't want it to be, oh man, I got back, 2 dorks and a really good card. I could have just played Reanimate.
Yeah, exactly. But it's a totally good card when you mitigate the downsides.
I think you want to fill your graveyard a little bit, because I'm not going to just go, all right, hope my opponents have a lot of things dead by turn 7.
Yeah, the toughest thing about this card for me is it's competing. The slot that it's really competing with is Living Dead.
Living Death. That card is nuts.
And that card's insane.
It is so good. That's, you know what? That's the new comparison. Can you get more value off of this than Living Death? If so, maybe you should play this.
Yes. Next, we have Zalreth suggesting Wandering Archaic. This is a 5-mana card that says whenever an opponent casts an instant or sorcery, they pay 2 or you copy it. Hey, not too shabby at all. Total C, middle of the road. This doesn't have a ton of homes. It's just kind of solid, where you can kind of throw it wherever you want, and it'll be fun and decent in almost any deck, but you can't really expect to get too much value out of it because it's either going to be paid or, you're going to get something crappy.
Of all the cards that exist in Magic, this is the top of my list for, I want to play it, but I haven't yet. I think I even put it in a deck. I just haven't played that deck, and I just want to get this out. If we're going to do a side grade, the backside is an F.
Yeah.
It's so bad.
Yeah, but we're not talking about the backside. But to be fair, It is literally
strictly better to
It
have
is a strictly better upgrade for the one time that you are going to miss a really important land drop or
you're
something.
gonna die.
Or die. And you need life. Like this, that little upside is still better than if it wasn't there.
Yeah,
Now, that being said, don't cast it almost ever.
If the backside was 17 colorless mana and it said Scry 1, I'd rather have that than a Magic the Gathering back that says Deckmaster on it.
Yeah, I would agree with that because nobody knows what Deckmaster is.
But it's a really cool card, and I think it does pull weight.
Next, Dankman suggests Lethal Vapors. This is a D, trending toward D-.
Why?
Because it doesn't really do too much. It says that whenever creatures enter after it's played, that they're destroyed. But any player can pay 0, skip the next turn, and destroy it. This affects you. But in the decks you're playing it, you're probably not going to care about that too much.
Yeah.
But the only thing that really I think makes this card kind of playable is the weird Protect Myself Forever
the
combo.
janky combo where you have Teferi's Protection yourself, plus something. Oh, plus you need Grand Abolisher also. And you need Teferi's Protection, and then you skip your next 1,000 turns. And the game presumably ends for your opponents because you just won't take another turn.
Yeah, this card's incredibly janky and just not very good.
But that's not good at all. I mean, a 3-card combo to like win, kind of, but you need all 3 pieces. You can't partially go off. It's just like whatever. I'm not a huge fan of this. I think it's definitely deserving of a D.
Well, even worse. So let's just make it even worse. If you don't have the Grand Abolisher with that, what they actually do is they go, you say, I'll skip my next 1,000 turns. They go, okay, I'll skip my next 990 turns. So I'll get 10 turns before you get to play again. Ooh, that's not good.
Right. Or, they can always pay more than you, so the game never ends, and it's just like, oh, you played yourself. Also, so when you play Lethal Vapors, it doesn't do anything. It affects the next creatures in play. So the actual reason I'm not really playing this is, would I rather answer future unknown creatures, maybe, with giving them an out to ignore it if they want to skip a turn, or just destroy all creatures? Would I just want to play Damnation?
Yeah, exactly.
Why not just wait?
This is just not a very good Magic card.
Nah. Too many hoops. Next, Meep says Smoke. Smoke says you can't untap more than 1 creature during each of your untap steps, and that is not the best stacks effect I've ever seen. So this is going to get a D-.
Yeah, it just doesn't do very much at all. They're still going to untap their best creatures. It's only affecting creatures, and when it comes to stack pieces, if we're going to really lock down the board, there's so many better ones. There's the Winter Orbs, and there's those cards are so insane compared to this
there's so many of them. I mean, Static Orb. Pick your favorite 2 permanents. Forget creatures. Your lands are done too.
Yeah, exactly. Because this is just on the lower end of stack pieces.
So low that I don't think you ever really have to play it.
Yes. And somehow an A+ stuck onto this list because Rex the Best suggests Dack Fayden. This can plus to Faithless Looting. This can minus to steal an artifact permanently to your side, or it can -6 for flavor text.
Yeah, flavor text. The steal artifact is amazing for 3 mana. They don't have that on any card, and this is a planeswalker that could maybe do it again.
This isn't just like that average normal effect. Like, oh, okay, like you enchant it. There's like the card steal artifact.
Yeah, that sucks.
But that enchants it, and if they destroy the enchantment, they get it back. Dack Fayden's effect lasts indefinitely. So it just doesn't end. Like, it just keeps... You just have it for the rest of the game unless they somehow destroy it. Or if it's a creature, maybe they can get it back with, like, Homeward Path.
Right, but the difference... So Dack Fayden being a Planeswalker means not only are you getting a 3-mana steal an artifact permanently, which could be a commander, it requires additional resources on their part to finish off Dack Fayden. They have to attack it. I mean, it's probably not that difficult, but they still have to commit something. You're going to gain some life or force their creatures to be tapped or maybe even eat something on a block because they have to alpha your deck because he's at 2 and he's just going to do it again. I stole a great henge with this the other day. That was amazing.
Yeah, that's just what Dack Fayden does. He's a very, very strong commander card. Next, number 18 on this list, it's Static.
It's like thick. It's like got 2 C's. Static.
He suggests Ugin the Ineffable, 6-mana planeswalker. Your colorless spells cost 2 less to cast, and you pluses to make a spirit that basically draws you a card, and you minuses to destroy a colored permanent. And that's it. There's no ultimate on this.
This is
card.
Ugin the Virgin, for those who haven't heard that yet.
Ugin the Virgin, or Ugin the Ineffable. B plus for this card. It requires you to really care about the static ability. If the static ability is going to be reducing tons of cards in your deck down to 0, 1, 2, 3, I mean, it's crazy. Then all of a sudden this card is just one of the best cards in your deck. B plus all the way.
This card tends to be one of the best cards in my decks when I'm playing artifacts and spinning and going crazy. I think I have Ugin in like 3 decks now that I'm thinking about it, because if you can play Ugin and then play a spell for 0, he's probably in the right deck. I love the plus. It protects him. It draws cards. And then in an emergency, you can always just blow something up and still take advantage of the static. But the taking advantage of the static is the prerequisite for playing this card.
Absolutely, yeah. I mean, a 6-mana Planeswalker that plus is to draw a card and minus is to destroy a permanent is not very good. That's why you need that static ability to be good, because you would never play this card without that static ability.
That's like, we're not playing Garrett Cursed Huntsman. That's basically what this is. We're not doing that.
Yeah. Next, Foo Possum. Yeah, that's right. Foo Possum suggests Sunforger.
How times have changed.
BC used to be very high in this card and had a Sunforger package in the deck. We made a video about Sunforger, and I don't think Sunforger is good at all anymore. D minus. This card is slow, clunky, requires a ton of building around, and for all of those reasons, I just think this card is bad. I think it's trending toward. It's not an F.
No.
But it's trending toward F. It's a D minus. It's very bad.
Maybe in 2 more years, it'll just be like, yeah, this is fun to do, and I get the appeal to it, but for power, why are we doing this? We just don't need to. There's so many cards, I think even when you're building a Sunforger package, that people put in, and it's like, comeuppance? What? Why are we committing so hard to this? Some decks are committed, or some decks build around Sunforger more than others, and you want to have 7-ish targets before you have like a nice little package. But this card is so slow. It is a tutor, tricky, can blow people out, almost guaranteed to. But once you pay 3, target a creature. All right, don't blow me out. Okay, you didn't. Pay 2 more, and now you get a 4-drop.
Yeah, that's it. Never pays itself back. It never does. It costs 3 to equip, 2 to unattach. You're getting something that costs 4 or less. It always isn't getting its mana's worth.
It can dominate games, but it's rare.
Yeah. Next, we have, I almost lost it, first in, last Kappa with Command Beacon. It's a land, so it doesn't take up much room. And if your commander costs a lot of mana and tax is going to be a huge problem for it, Command Beacon is a solid card. It's a B. The prerequisite for this is you're going to want to use it consistently in games to get your commander to your hand. And on top of that, it can fit in the land slot without hurting your deck.
I think this card is a little bit overplayed. I'm still going to give it a B, but I think it's overplayed because people go, well, I cast my commander. It's like, yeah, but how often are you cracking Command Beacon to go get it back? That varies wildly from deck to deck. Some decks, though, if your commander is like 5 mana, changing, then you cast for 7. Now I really don't want to cast my commander for 9. Or I have a Skullbriar deck. I need this card because I'm going to be slamming that thing over and over and over and over, and it's worth it to save all that mana. Some decks don't care, though.
Yeah, they don't care at all. But so as long as once you have a commander probably with a 5 or higher mana cost, that's usually where I am at, where it's like, those taxes get really fast, and like, that's 7, then 9. Oh no! But you can put it back in your hands. 5 again. All right, that's nice.
Or a spammy commander. I'm thinking like Skullbriar, like maybe Risk the Redeemed, where you're gonna cast it for 5. Someone's gonna kill it eventually, and you go, all right, I'll just save 6 mana and play it right now.
Don't do it with Skullbriar. That'd be terrible.
Oh, yeah. What am I talking about?
Yeah, that'd be awful.
Why did I say that? What am I thinking of? That card sucks in Skullbriar.
Yeah,
don't do that.
Don't do it in Skullbriar.
I'm embarrassing myself.
Yeah, you're literally...
What am I thinking of?
I don't know what you're thinking. That's awful.
Don't do it.
One of the worst suggestions BC ever made on this channel.
Accidentally.
Next, Frankie Smith suggests Mythos of Snapdax, which is a 4-mana sorcery that says everybody sacrifices all but one of their things. And they choose. But if you pay white, black, red for this card, now suddenly you're just, whoops, look at that. I get to pick. This is Tragic Arrogance for 4 mana. Any deck that can play this should play it. It is an A+. It's going 4 mana for this board wipe is completely bonkers. Even if it basically costs 4 pips.
Yeah, I'm pretty stoked to play 5 for Tragic Arrogance, and this better than Damnation. It's better than Day of Judgment. It's better than all that destroy creature things. This card is so good. But you got to be playing Mardu. But I don't think a color restriction would bump it down to a B. It's not build around. You just play it if you're Mardu like all the time.
No, it's a build around. You have to be playing Mardu.
Yeah, I don't count that as a build. This is a Mardu staple.
It's absolutely a Mardu staple, and I think 4 and 5 color decks can easily include this. It's going to be one of your best board wipes.
Totally. Zima wants to know Filth. What would you guys grade that? Filth, if it's in your graveyard, gives your creatures Swamp Walk. It does nothing else if it's in play. You kind of really need to discard it or sacrifice it or something, or mill it. But I just don't think Swamp Walk is really worth much. I'm going to give it a C-.
C- is a good grade for this. It's trending towards the D range. It costs a lot to really get going, and if you're not if you're not playing against black decks at that table, it won't do anything. Meaning that you have to have like an Urborg in play now to make this card really work, and that's jumping through a lot of hoops to make a medium card work.
It's a slot in your deck. You got to slot a card in your deck, and if you're going to go, I'm going to have Urborg every game, it's like, okay.
Like
now your creatures are unblockable, but you still have to care about that.
The other one is the other two, which is Wonder and Anger. Those two are much, much better.
Oh, yeah. Smlev wants to know, Mystic Reflection. What are you guys thinking? We're pretty stoked about this one. I don't know. I remember liking this card and wanting to try it. We didn't give it too much press, I don't think, but now that we've played it a bunch, I'm a B. Like, this card's solid.
I thought BZ didn't like it when it first came out, but I could
wrong.
Be wrong.
Incorrect.
It's going in the cards BZ was wrong in category.
No way. I'm the one who put this in a deck.
That doesn't
I had it in a deck from like when I got it.
But Mystic Reflection, I remember us being low on. I don't remember exactly what we said, but it's a solid B. This card, if you're able to make 2 or 3 tokens at a time, then this card is really solid and worth it. It's like, okay, I'm going to make 3 1/1s. No, I want to make 3 of the best creature on the battlefield. That is a huge difference and worth a full card. It also functions as like this weird counterspell from time to time. It's like, we cannot let his Elfstorm off. It kills us. We die. We all die. Okay. Then Elfstorm will enter as this 2/2 pest.
As a 2/2 pest or a goblin or something. This also shuts down commanders, and it goes, oh, well, your Scent Triplets is actually going to enter as a 0/1 goat.
Kobold.
And now you're stuck with a 0/1 goat. Figure it out. Figure out how to get your Scent Triplets back. It's gone.
Yeah. Moving on, Sampo suggests Remand. I'm incredibly low on Remand. I understand this draws you a card, but unless you're playing in a meta where you know there's 6-7 mana spells that you're going to be able to bounce and they're not going to be able to cast again that turn, I am super not interested in this card. I'm just going to give it an F. Bouncing spells back to hand is not powerful enough for Commander. It costs you your 2 mana and your tempo. And you're not the one who's getting the most tempo out of that. The people who are the other 2 players who are involved in this interaction. You want your cards to be giving you the most advantage, not other players.
Yeah, so Remand is very good tempo in 1v1, but it does not translate into Commander. I think you're better off just avoiding it.
Yeah, agreed completely.
Let's go to Jay Questrian, who says, Altar of the Bone is my card. I want you to grade Nitpicking Nerds. Do it. It's green and white for a sorcery. You sack a creature, and you go find a creature. Now, green and white's got a lot of ways to find creatures, and this isn't a creature in your creature deck, so it's the classic problem of how many of these do I play. But I think overall it's still pretty solid. B-, though, you got to be in like some Abzan sacrifice deck.
Yeah, and when you're in an Abzan sacrifice deck, there's just much better tutors.
Like way better.
Yeah, the main problem is it tends to fall off, but its effect is still very strong. This is a tutor. It doesn't, even if, as long as, again, the creature you're sacrificing isn't a disadvantage to you, this card is good.
Yes, but it's like I almost kind of just want to be in green-white, because why am I not playing Vampiric, Demonic, or Diabolic Intent? And then I'm also playing this. Like, even then, you still have like Court of Calling and Green Sun Zenith and all those other tutors.
Finale of Devastation.
This is just like tutor number 17. You gotta be. I'm saying I almost want to be green white.
Yeah, so it's probably actually trending towards C. It's trending toward the C+ range because you just don't have to play it too often.
Stick around for 5 more minutes and we talk ourselves down to this card being an F. I'm thinking F.
I'm not thinking F. What do we have next?
Shadowverse Enjoyer is suggesting Commander's Plate. It's a nifty little equipment from Commander Legends. It only really equips the commanders. Let's just ignore all the other equip costs. It's going to give +3/+3 and protection from every color it's not. So you kind of have to be 1 color or 0 colors. But once you are, this gives a nice power boost, mostly hexproof and mostly unblockable.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of this card. I gotta admit, this is just an equipment that doesn't do enough for me personally. I don't know. It's okay, and it's not a terrible card. I would personally give it like a C. And like C+ is the final grade we settled on. But I don't know. I get what you're saying. It does give it mostly hexproof, but like, I'm just not interested. This doesn't seem that I don't know any decks I would want to put this in.
You kind of have to care about equipment, and then this is like, it's a nice equipment to have. It's just okay in a Voltron deck.
Yeah. Next, Cambraid suggests Crypt of Agadeem. It says it taps for a black, enters tapped, taps for a black mana, and you can pay 2, and it taps for a black mana for each creature in your graveyard. you obviously have to have a really, really high concentration of creatures. You're self-milling.
40.
Putting creatures into your graveyard. And this card's just still middle of the road. It's like a C. There's just, if you're looking to add big mana and make big mana, there's better ways than Crypt of Agadeem. Now, that being said, this card will be good, and sometimes it'll be great. Like, it'll be the best mana maker you could ever imagine. Make 16 mana. It's like, go completely bonkers, cast like 13 spells. You know, sometimes it'll happen.
If I ever had inside information that Cabal Coffers was getting banned, which I would enjoy greatly, I would buy 150 of this card, because part of the reason I think it sees such little play is that there's, Nykthos and Cabal Coffers, and they're like higher up, and black is so parasitic with how many lands you can play that aren't swamp. But I think this card is good. It's not that hard to fill your graveyard. You just need 4 creatures in your graveyard before your +1 mana, which is already amazing, and I don't really need anything else other than that. I think this card should probably be in some more decks than it's in.
Yeah, that might be fair.
There's very little work you have to do to get just a good land. I mean, maybe you want this tap you want to profit 3 because then there's tapped. That'll mitigate it.
Once it profits 2, I think you're fine.
Yeah.
Yeah, profiting 2 mana is going to be amazing. That's going to be a really strong card. Next, Might and She suggests Righteous Aura. This is an enchantment. It's not an aura. It says pay 1 to prevent some damage, and this card is bad.
It's like pay 2 life, prevent all this damage from a source. I think this is neither an aura nor righteous. It's just kind of bad. Preventing damage, we've been saying it in our best ranking every commander series. It's like the worst thing you could ever do. I'm not interested in proactive defense. So I don't want to do that.
Yeah, I agree completely. This card's an F. Solidly an F. You almost never want to be playing this card.
It's not going to help you. The best outlet I can see for this is an outlet to pay life.
I mean, even then, this card is just bad. I mean, just avoid it. Forget about this card. Next, Villain Dynamics suggests Lifeline, which is a 5-mana artifact that says whenever a creature dies, if there's another creature on the battlefield still, then it returns at the next end step. Yikes.
Well, roll those dice. Hope you're not playing against any deck that can use this better than you. I don't think that's guaranteed. This is just like such a risk for 5 mana. I'm out. Out.
It's everybody. Exactly. This is a symmetrical effect. If this was only for you, sure, this card's great. Very strong card. You can do a lot. Cool. You can do a lot with it. Unfortunately, it's for every single player, and for that reason, I'm out.
We're out. Lastly, Stir Ban 73, Drown in the Loch. I haven't really thought about this card very much for Commander, but I think it's actually a good card. I don't play blue-black, so I'm not all up in this card's business, but I think it's a solid C. It's not a great... I think it's actually bad in the early game, but we're not spending all that much time in the early game that we're not developing anyway. So after turn 5, I think this is a nifty little modal spell where it's either going to counter something or destroy something, and it's never dead.
Yeah. The problem, obviously, this card's weakness is that it can't hit everything throughout the game. It matters how many cards are in that player's graveyard. Now, that is a weakness, and it does bring it all the way down to a C. But once you overcome that weakness, this card is now a better counterspell. It's a counterspell and a spot removal spell, and that's just pretty much unheard of.
Well, or either.
Yeah, you're right. It is a spot removal spell or a counterspell, and being able to do both is very versatile. I mean, if all counterspells could destroy creatures, they would be insane.
I mean, it means I get to go, oh, that's a really good creature with an ETB. Oh, you played an Elishnorn. Like, that's really nuts. If this was just a counterspell, I'd have to counter it. But now I can just sit here and see if you attack me. I don't actually have to do anything.
Yeah, lots of stuff like that Drown in the Loch provides you. Nice little versatile blue-black card.
That's it.
Yeah,
that is all.
Yeah, that was our last card. Special shout-outs to all of our patrons. Love you all as much as you can without making you uncomfortable.
If you're enjoying us grading cards, we've done it a million times, so just literally search Nitpicking Nerds grading cards, and you'll get 11 more videos to watch.
There's a playlist. There's the playlist.
There's a playlist of it. Go click the playlist.
Go. You have to. Right now. Go.
Actually, I'll just put it at the end of this video, so go check it there.
That's also an easy way to go. What else? We have an affiliate link, tcgplayer.com. Go there. Buy all the Magic cards you were going to buy anyway. And guess what? Because you used our link, started with the link, you're supporting the Nitpicking Nerds with spending no extra money.
And the holiday season is coming up. And if you haven't bought anyone a gift yet that you maybe want to, what better way to buy a gift than to go to Dragon Shield and then get them some Magic the Gathering sleeves for their Magic the Gathering deck? Sorry, Mom. Was a little late on Christmas this year. Got you some Dragon Shields, apple green.
Yep.
She'll love it.
Sleeves, deck boxes, playmats. They got all that good stuff.
Here you go, brother. I got you some Jesper Ising dragon art.
Yep.
Matt. Do it.
Boom.
They'll love it.
They're going to love it. And now, for everyone's favorite part of the video, a tidbit about our lives, where we tell you a little bit about what's going on in our lives.
Well, it's not everyone's favorite part.
It's everyone's favorite part.
Some people hate it.
All right. Well, what is your tidbit? Do you have anything today?
It is my turn. Back in the day, back when we first moved into this new place, started to watch some SpongeBob, and we just randomly, because we had 20 minutes, we watched an extra episode. Mm-hmm. The episode with the Tattletale Strangler is hot fire. There's so many quotes in that episode.
We watched that one was good, and that was very funny. But something that's sticking out in my head is I very vaguely, because I have seen it, the episode where they open 24 hours.
The Krusty Krab.
The Krusty Krab 24 hours. When Mr. Krabs goes, you need to see a professional, and he goes, Rustler?
Joe lost it.
Dude, I so vaguely remember that, and when I said that, I'm just like, oh, I lost. It was so good. I don't know why.
There's a solid batch of episodes we watched with the cleats in the eyeballs, and I think the one before the 24 hours Krusty Krab was the prank where they spray themselves with invisible spray.
Yep.
And when Patrick just goes like, where's the Cena Brutal? It just kills me. Every time.
Oh boy, Cena Brutal.
Oh, darn it.
All right. Peace out, Tribe Scouts.